How's it going, everybody? Daner here with North Central Coins, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the most rare and valuable coins in Canada. Today, we're going to be discussing a Canadian quarter that has one of the lowest mintage figures of any circulation coin ever produced. Because so few of these quarters were struck, it makes finding them in your pocket change pretty tricky, but not impossible. And this is a coin that's value is definitely exceeded by its rarity. In this video, we will explore the historical context surrounding the production of this infamous piece of Canadian numismatic history. Additionally, we will discuss any distinguishing and identifying features, its significance among collectors, and also the potential value if you happen to own or find a legitimate example. Before I do get into this, I would really appreciate if you guys would smash that thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and also ring that bell notification so you don't miss out on any of my new content. Also, make sure to stay until the end of the video if you would like to find out just how much you could get for one of these coins if you happen to own or find one. And now, a quick word about this video's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Whatnot. Whatnot is a live stream marketplace app where you can buy, sell, and participate in auctions in real time 24/7 right from your phone or mobile device. It's a fantastic resource for the coin collecting community because the variety and selection of items is absolutely massive. You can find everything from silver bullion and rare Canadian coin varieties to American banknotes and all sorts of other numismatic treasures at very reasonable prices. Because everything is happening live on camera, you can actually see the luster and the technical details of a coin before you even place a bid. And very importantly, all sellers and shipping are verified by Whatnot, so you are guaranteed to receive whatever items that you purchase. If you would like to join the hunt, simply scan the QR code that's showing on the screen right now or click my referral link that is pinned in the comments and included in the description. When you sign up using my link, you will receive $15 in credit to use towards your very first purchase on the platform. I would like to give a huge thanks to Whatnot for supporting my channel and sponsoring this video. And without any further ado, what do you say we get right into it and discuss the 1991 Canadian quarter? Let's get it, guys. So before we really get into the nitty-gritty and break down the value and specifications, I thought I would go over some of the story of how a coin with such a limited mintage figure can actually come into existence. To truly understand the 1991 Canadian quarter, we have to have at least a basic understanding of the fundamentals of numismatics and how rarity actually works in a modern context. Now, coin mintage refers to the quantity of a specific coin that was produced by a mint during a particular year or time period. It is an absolutely fundamental aspect of a coin's history and production. Now, rarity is a measure of how scarce or uncommon a coin is relative to its total mintage. Coins with lower mintages are generally considered more rare because there are fewer of them available to collectors and the public. In the world of Canadian quarters, we usually see massive numbers. A typical mintage for a Canadian quarter can range anywhere from tens to hundreds of millions of quarters. Now, when that number drops into the six-figure range, you aren't just looking at a low mintage year, you're looking at a key date that collectors will hunt for decades. Now, there are several other factors that can contribute to the rarity of a coin beyond just the initial mintage number. But there are few factors that play a role in a coin's value as much as mintage. Now, another factor is survival rate. This is a big one for circulation coins. Because the 1991 quarter was a regular caribou design, most people didn't even know that it was rare at the time, and most people can easily glance over them in their pocket change even today. Even 30 years later, most of these have been lost, damaged, or pulled out of circulation by the mint to be recycled through the Alloy recycling program. Also, many of them have probably been hunted from coin roll hunters and collectors. Historical shifts in metal prices or changes in a coin's composition can lead to mass withdrawals from circulation. While the 1991 quarter is composed of nickel, many older coins were melted for their silver value. But even the nickel coins that are currently still floating around in circulation are facing retirement by the ARP. That means you actively have companies like Brinks and GardaWorld that are sending coins to refineries to melt them down for their precious metal value. Also, when a coin gains a reputation like the 1991 Canadian quarter, just about every collector and their mums are pulling every single one that they can find out of their pocket change and circulation. This reduces their population even further, which has slowly driven the price up. Rarity is one of the main factors that drives value, and generally, the rarer a coin is, it will command higher prices because of the law of supply and demand. Collectors who are building a date set of Canadian quarters need that vital 1991 spot to complete their collection. Because the supply is fixed at that low mintage figure of 459,000 and the demand stays high, the price slowly climbs over time. The condition or grade of a coin can also significantly impact its value. A high mint state or high grade 1991 is much harder to find than a worn or beat up example, leading to a pretty significant price jump between a common coin found in your pocket change and one that was just pulled out of a pristine mint roll. One of the most fascinating and often misunderstood parts of the story of the 1991 quarter is that the Royal Canadian Mint was hit by a massive employee strike that year. This caused production delays and thus a lower mintage figure. Labor disputes at a mint can completely disrupt normal operations. Mint employees, including the coin press operators and engravers, participated in work stoppages that officially put a halt on production for a significant portion of that year. This created a massive backlog at the Canadian Mint. When they did finally get up and running and back to full capacity, they were already running out of time for the 1991 production window. In the case of the 1991 Canadian quarter, this strike was the primary driver of its scarcity. This situation essentially created the perfect storm. There was a huge mintage gap. In 1991, the Canadian Mint only produced 459,000 quarters. If you compare that to the previous year of 1990, which is actually the year that I was born, where they struck 31,258,000 quarters. Now, to go from just over 31 million quarters produced in the year 1990 to under 500,000 quarters being produced in the year 1991, this is something that is almost unheard of in modern numismatics. In the early 90s, Canada was facing economic shifts, and there was already a surplus of quarters from the late 1980s that were still held in bank vaults. The demand for new 1991 dated coinage was relatively low, so even after the strikes had concluded and the Canadian Mint resumed operations as normal, the demand for 1991 dated coinage was so low that they really had no reason to make up the mintage that was lost during the time of the strike. I should also mention the 125th anniversary of the Confederation of Canada Quarter Series, also known as the Provincial Quarter Series. This was a massive undertaking and basically a first of its kind project in numismatics. The Canadian Mint was to release 13 different designs, each modeled after a different province in Canada, and prepping for this project honestly took priority over striking more of the 1991 Caribou quarters. As soon as they got operations back up and rolling, they effectively moved on to the 1992 series as quickly as possible. Now, if you're looking to verify if you have found the real deal, here is some of the technical specifications. In 2026, we're seeing more and more fakes and counterfeits popping up online, so knowing some information and doing a bit of due diligence is your best defense to avoid fakes. The 1991 Canadian quarter has a mintage figure of 459,000. It is composed of 100% nickel. It has a weight of 5.05 grams, a diameter of 23.88 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.58 millimeters. The obverse was designed and engraved by Dora DePatry Hunt and Ago Aran, and the reverse by Emmanuel Hahn. the edge of the coin is reeded, it should be magnetic, and it should have a die-axis in metal alignment, which is the standard for most Canadian, British, and Australian coins. Now, I do want to clear up a pretty common misconception that you might hear or see online. Is the 1991 quarter a holy grail that will buy you a new house? Well, no, not exactly. But it is arguably the most significant Canadian circulation quarter made in just about the last 75 years. Because it holds the title of the lowest mintage figure of the modern era, it has a very solid, fixed, low-end value that is hard to ignore. Now, if you take a look in the coin catalogs, they will appraise these for around $5 for a super low-grade example. So that is one that is beat up and worn and been put through the meat grinder. But the reality of the market is a little bit different. If you look at what these things are actually selling and moving for, it's much more typical to see these selling for around $10 and up. Now just think about that for a second. That is a 25-cent investment that you found in your pocket change or coin roll hunting. So you are looking at pretty much a 4,000% return. It's not necessarily a jackpot, but it is definitely one of the best bang for your bucks finds that you can get. Now, the true value of these 1991 Canadian quarters actually lies in the original mint rolls. Back in the year 1991, you literally could have walked into a bank and grabbed a roll for $10 or a full box of 50 rolls for $500. Now today, these rolls are extremely scarce. While some people might tear or rip them open to find some high-grade examples that they can send off for grading, most collectors will hold on to them and keep them sealed. Now this is where you see the insane values. If you were to find a full sealed box of Canadian 1991 quarters, which honestly is not impossible, as some collectors are known to build giant pyramids of old coin boxes in their basements, or there could easily be some of these sitting around in a bank vault. They could easily fetch $1,000 per roll, which makes a single box worth $50,000. Now to put that in perspective for any silver stackers out there, if you found a full box of pre-1968 80% Canadian silver quarters, the melt value is approximately $32,710. This means that a box of 1991 nickel quarters are actually more profitable than a box of 80% silver quarters. It's one of the only times in coin collecting where a modern nickel coin will outperform the melt value of silver. And that really highlights the legendary status that this coin has received. Even in a super high grade, the proof and specimen finishes aren't super valuable. They are definitely no more valuable than the common business strike. But I would say all of the money and intrigue in these 1991 quarters lays in the uncirculated rolls in the box. While the proofs are a bit nicer to look at, the business strikes are the ones that were truly born in the wild during that 1991 striking period. The proof and specimen coins were protected in plastic or their casing from day one, so they don't carry the same scarcity of condition that a perfect business strike does. But what do you guys think about the 1991 Canadian quarters? Is it the ultimate coin roll hunting finding trophy, or do you prefer some of the heirs or modern rarities? What would you do if you found a legitimate example, or if you have, let me know down in the comments. I would love to know. Also, I would really appreciate if you guys would smash that thumbs up. If you have not, subscribe if you're new, and ring that bell notification so you can stay up to date with my new videos as they are being released. I would like to give a huge shout out to Whatnot for sponsoring today's video, but I think that is pretty much going to do it for this one, folks. So until the next one, everybody, peace out and have a good one, y'all.